I live where you vacay. That's a popular phrase that we love to use here in Jamaica. We post it on our captions for our photos and we brag about it because a lot of foreigners, they come to Jamaica to have their dream vacation. And we feel blessed enough to know that this is where we live. And while I do agree that Jamaica can feel like paradise many times for some of us, it's worth noting that for many who work in the tourism sector, it's not feeling like paradise at all. And so I want to pose the question, as a result of how many of our tourism workers feel, is it worth the bragging rights to say, I live where you vacay, when we really think about some of the things they're facing? Let's talk about it. My name is Brianna Vernon, and this is the Independent Report. Now, we've always heard it said that tourism is our money maker in Jamaica. And we see it with our own eyes. Just the influx of tourists who come to enjoy our island, to enjoy our hotels, our beaches, our culture, everything and more. And we are so grateful and humbled by the fact that the world at large, for the most part, many people in the world would agree that Jamaica is a dream destination for them to have their vacation. But on the flip side, for many who work in the tourism sector, particularly the line staff, a lot of them do have the reality of not enjoying the tourism sector that much. And it's actually quite interesting because since it's one of our most successful sectors, and it has been for years, you would think that, well, since it's practically always booming, except for, in COVID-19 is the last time I can remember when the tourism sector wasn't doing its best. But it pretty much, came back after that like nothing ever happened, right? And so it's pretty ironic that such a successful sector has employees and workers who complain and have a lot of valid complaints as well. We've seen it even recently enough with the strikes that took place at several hotels. Seems a series of them were kicked off by Royalton, the Grill, and then other hotel workers followed suit, and they were complaining about low wages, poor working conditions, and more. And I have to shake my head because for a sector that's $1 billion industry, for the 2023 to 2024 fiscal year, the tourism sector in Jamaica brought in well over $4 billion. And when you think about a sector that's raking in over $4 billion for a fiscal year, it makes you wonder, why are so many of its staff not feeling appreciated, not being able to live comfortable lives? They're complaining of low wages. Why is that the case? Of course, we don't expect them necessarily to be making millions of dollars a month for their salary. But for such a successful sector that we brag about, that our tourism minister brags about everywhere he goes, wouldn't it be fair, or wouldn't it be expected that the workers in that sector would be reaping some of those rewards? Yet it's not the case for a lot of them. A lot of our tourism workers, they complain about incredibly low wages. It's even been said that some of their wages wouldn't even allow them to spend one night at the hotel that they work at. And when we think about hotel prices, of course, they vary. But say, for instance, on average, a luxury all-inclusive hotel in Jamaica, the cost per night is generally about 500 USD or more. That converts to about 80,000 Jamaican dollars. So to even consider that there are some hotel workers who are not even making 80,000 Jamaican dollars per month, it makes you scratch your head. You wonder, how are they even surviving? A lot of them, they live off compound, of course. They have their apartments, they have their families, their children that they have to take care of. What can $80,000 really do in the Jamaican society without you having to sacrifice something? A lot of rental apartments these days are running you between $60,000 to $80,000 if you want to live somewhere nice and in an okay or comfortable community. Otherwise, you'd probably be forced to live in a subpar apartment. And then when you factor in electricity costs and water, internet, food, and for a lot of these workers, they're not just providing for themselves, they're providing for their families, for children, and we all know it's not easy to feed Pitney. So just imagine that. And we live in a world where costs and prices of products and services are always on the rise. But what's not always on the rise are our salaries. Here and there, we might get an increase, but when we look at the increase, we even feel offended. What is that in comparison to the rate at which products and services increase globally? And even in Jamaica, I've heard several foreigners even say that they're surprised at the prices in Jamaica when they go to our supermarkets. They're taken aback. And so I believe that for the tourism sector to be $1 billion industry, which it is, and for it to be doing well year by year, and for us to be bragging about it year by year, it is quite a shame that the workers in the industry are not able to brag as well. It is such a shame that it was so bad that during the Royal Thunder Grill strike, some of the guests at the hotel also joined in support of the workers. What a disgrace. What a disgrace. There's also something I want to mention to you. The tourism sector has grown by 36% over the past 30 years. Always on the rise. So what really is the reason behind the employees not being paid what they believe they deserve? What could possibly be the reason they are complaining about poor working conditions when they are working in $1 billion industry? You would think it's a mom and pop shop. You would think it's a grocery store. We have to do better. A lot of the issues with Jamaica is that on the surface, we look great. And of course, our country is not the worst in the world. We are far from the worst. But we have an issue where we have surface level syndrome. I just made that up. Where we look so good in so many sectors on the surface level. But when we get down into the nitty-gritty and into the fiber of these sectors, and when we go to the line staff and when we check it out, there are so many holes that have yet to be filled. I've heard it, said that since the tourism sector, most of the tourists, of course, they are paying in foreign currency. Why can't the employees be paid in foreign currency as well? These are some questions I'd love to have answered. And I'm sure a lot of other Jamaicans would love to have them answered as well. And most importantly, I'm sure the workers would love to have them answered. And not just answered, but they need a solution and they need higher wages. A billion-dollar industry should not have employees who are complaining so often. Where's the money going? They're the ones who are keeping the industry alive. They're the ones who are standing there for hours, flipping the omelette, serving the tables, wiping the tables, entertaining the guests. A hotel is not just a building and rooms to stay in. When the workers aren't doing their best or aren't able to do their best, whether it is they're slacking off or they're not able to be as efficient as possible because they're not being treated fairly, whatever the case may be, it shows in the quality of how the hotel looks, the cleanliness of the hotel, the service that they provide to guests. I'm sure we can do better in the tourism sector. So we're calling on the Ministry of Tourism and we're calling on the managers of these hotels to make the staff not just feel valued, but actually value them. Yep. What more can I say? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Comment below if you have anything that you'd like to add. Maybe I missed something. You can also mention that below. And of course, subscribe, like, and share. Okay? Also, follow Noble Media Network on Instagram at Noble Media Net so you can stay up to date on what's going on with the Independent Report and the other programs that we have, as well as all the content that we produce. So until next time, my name is Brianna Vernon, and this was the Independent Report.